Hey guys. So this week I published the 4.3 release candidate 1. If you go under pyRevit and on the releases, this is the sort of like the latest version, just before the 4.6 final release. I've removed the installer for 4.5 because I'm still getting questions and stuff like that related to 4.5. I'm actually going to, let's see if I can, well, this is going to stay here for the latest release until I published the 4.6 final. But basically, just being a single person, I couldn't devote more time in responding into questions about the 4.5 installer and the errors and issues associated with it and stuff like that. Everybody hopefully should switch into 4.6 RC if they are, if they want to use the new pyRevit. There's only one issue associated with this, which I've gotten from two different users. It's not, I cannot replicate this issue on my own machines. So let me know if you see this and share some information about your environment, which version of Windows you're using and stuff like that. It seems to be it's more of a .NET Framework issue than basically an add-on issue. So sometimes when you launch Revit, it runs fine on the first time, but then when you run it after that, you get this error about setting the resize border thickness method missing from a Metro window class. Metro window is the type of window, is a window sort of like class that I'm using for the output window. So that's, if you let me know if you see that and just comment on this issue. The issue number is 394. And then there hasn't been much updates into the between the 4.3 beta 3 and this one, except that I added there's a sort of like an extension that I'm working on, and hopefully will come by 4.6 final, which I'm pretty excited about. This has a series of really good tools, really handy tools in it. So the only thing that I really added in this 4.3 release candidate was a little bit of improvements and stuff to the backend, and then I added this tool under Sheet to reorder sheets. Um, so a lot of us, especially like I'm coming from the architecture background, a lot of us to make sure that our sheets are ordered correctly in Revit, we use a, let's say, let me actually create a sheet in here that has the same sheet number as, let's say, let's change this to 102. A102D, and then whatever that sheet name is. So imagine like this is my, I don't know, second floor floor plan, and this is the second floor demolition plan. So a lot of times like this happens that you have extensions and stuff like that, your sheet numbers, and they don't get sorted correctly because this shows up after this. You want the sheet with D to be before this one. Um, among this is only one of the reasons that you want to have a custom sort of like sorting method for your sheets and stuff like this. So what we come up with is that we created a project parameter here and associated with the sheets, and then we go into schedule, sort of like a drawing list, and add that parameter in, and then you have to obviously hide it on the actual what is it, the sheet list that goes on your drawings and whatnot, because you don't want that index number to be visible. But basically we put in index numbers in that field, and we would use the sorting grouping, the sorting to sort based on that parameter. So the only issue that I had with it is it's a pretty good solution. The only issue is that you kind of have to use this bad um, what is it, schedule interface to sort of like edit those numbers. This interface is not as good as like softwares like Excel and stuff like that in editing values and whatnot. It's sort of like hard to navigate through and whatnot. So what I came up with, especially in our office, that we're going to use from now on, is the sheet reorder sheets tool. So the requirement for this tool to work is that you kind of have to have a parameter. I'm going to call it sheet order index. Make sure the word order exists in that parameter name somewhere. Let me know if you use a different language and stuff like that, and you want this to be a different way. We can always organize it in a different way. But I kind of need to find a way to sort of like pick the parameters out of a sheet that are sort of like intended for the sheet order. So I'm going to associate it with sheets, and the type of it should be an integer, because the tool manages the numbering, so it doesn't really matter if you want to, get a number and a text and stuff like that. It just indexes everything and puts the index inside that integer value. So let's, make sure it's off top integer. You can categorize it and place it, anywhere you want. That doesn't matter. I'm going to put it on the data, obviously instance. I've set the parameter to be active on the sheets. and then hit OK, and you're good to go as far as the parameter setup goes. So if I click on any of these sheets, I can see that the sheet order index is listed on those sheets. Now when I go in and launch the tool, it actually searches through the parameters available on sheet objects and pick the one that is of type an integer parameter, and then the one that has an order in its name somewhere. If you have multiple of these, obviously this combo box is going to list all these parameters. So you could pick the one that is it's supposed to be used for the sheet ordering. It reads those values from the parameters of all the sheets, and it tries to sort them. Now, right now, it doesn't. This sheet order index, because we just created it, doesn't have any value. So you can see that the ordering is kind of like messed up. So I'm going to click on the sheet number to order them based on sheet number. And I want all my G sheets to be at the top of the list. So I'm going to click on this and move them to the top. And I'm going to make sure that this move it once it's before 102. And as you can see, as I'm making changes, the index on the left-hand side is getting updated. And any other changes that you want to say. Obviously, most of it is fine because the sheets are in sequence. But you can use the up by 10 steps, up to the top, and then down 10 steps, and then to the bottom of the list to sort of like move the sheets around and whatnot. And then when you say reorder, the tool will set the values in the index values in that sheet order number. So now I can go to the sheet list and say, as you can imagine, sorted by actually add that sheet parameter here. And then we set it to the order, and then we also want to make sure that it's hidden. So now all the sheets are sorted based on that parameter, and everything's good from now on. You don't have to touch the schedule or go have a separate control schedule that shows those values and stuff like that. You can just go to sheet orders, and then this list doesn't show anything that it's not intended to be on a schedule. So if I hide these sheets and say do not appear on the sheet and run the tool again, you don't see anything that says A106. They're not listed here. And then, you can organize them differently. If you decide to move your sheets around and stuff like that, you can do it here and then reorder, and everything's good, and it's guaranteed to have a correct sorting on the index that you have, as long as you're sorting it based on that parameter and nothing else. So that tool is there. It's its first release, so you might see issues and whatnot associated with it. Let me know, and I'll get them fixed quickly. And this is pretty much it for this RC release. Let me know if you see any other issues. Absolutely, let me know if you see more of this 394 issue showing up. The proper solution that I have, the best solution that I could find to this problem that requires a little bit of time is, for me, I'm using the sort of like an add-on for this output window that allows me to create buttons on the toolbar. The only proper solution to this is to create a customized version of the output window myself from scratch, so it doesn't have any other dependencies and stuff like that. I'll do that by all means if it comes down to it, but I just want to make sure that this issue is bothering you enough, and also I can figure out what the actual root cause is, and if I can provide a fix, I'll provide a fix, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you.